I am certified pet professional Amy Leigh. The only difference between you and your groomer is knowledge, techniques, and tools. It is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the grooming industry. So stay put as we get started on this journey together today. Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Leigh, certified professional pet groomer since 2003. But it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you and you and you and you the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide the same level of quality care to your beloved pets at home as I provide to my client pets here all these years in my salon. So we share, that's what we do. And I want to remind you guys that one of the goals right here on my YouTube channel, one of the biggest goals for me on my YouTube channel is to bring a new voice to the pet grooming industry, and that is one that includes pet owners as valuable consumers and not just pet groomers. With so many people seeking valuable knowledge in order to groom their dogs at home, having a place to learn proper dog grooming techniques and receive professional advice on tools, products, where to get them is essential. And that's why I created this YouTube channel for you and your pets. Welcome to Go Groomer right here on YouTube. It is wonderful to see you guys. It's Wednesday, it's not Monday. That's okay. It's still so good to hear. It's been too long since I've seen you guys, so I'm so happy. This is going to be really fun tonight, and I promise you're going to learn something. I try to bring it, you know. Tonight's topic is, can my husband learn to hold and use dog grooming shears? Well, we're going to find out together right here tonight, guys, because we have something put together for you. And don't forget that at the end of our demonstration and our discussion today, teaching my husband the proper way to use scissors to groom a dog, I'm going to address your specific questions that you submitted, and we will answer them together right here live tonight. So don't go anywhere. Stay put. You're mine right now. I love it. I couldn't wait to see you guys. I'm also going to announce the topic for our next live from the grooming table, which, get out your pen and paper, guys, is going to be scheduled right now for Monday, July 18th at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, we're doing live from the grooming table bi-weekly now, so it's not every week. That way I can bring you better content. Trying to cram that in and upload a video every week too, and work and groom dogs just is a lot, and it's hard for me to produce the quality content to you that I want to give you. So we're doing live from the grooming table now every 2 weeks, and in my opinion that just makes it all the more special. I know it does for me. It makes me so excited to get back in front of you guys and to know that I'm bringing you something that I've worked on for 2 weeks. Whether it's just, you know, pen and paper starting out to then making videos and demos or whatever, but you get the point. We're better together. You got to give me a little time to really bring you the goods. So that's what I'm trying to do. So don't forget to mark your calendar as the 18th of July, which is back to Monday, thank goodness. 5:30 is going to be our next scheduled live from the grooming table. Another quick announcement here, channel members. Hello, calling all hounds, calling all hounds. Is there any hounds in here? Heck yeah, there is. I see you, hounds. Our Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh Zoom session, our next Zoom session for this month is scheduled for July 15th at 1 p.m. and that is a Friday. So I try to switch up my times a little bit so that I know we have a lot of people that are members that have different time zones than me. I'm Eastern Standard Time. I'm on the East Coast. So I try to shuffle it up a little bit as far as the times, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday or a 1 o'clock in the afternoon or a 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I try to change it up a little so that it gives everybody a chance to be present for some of those live Zoom meetings, which we have kicked up our channel membership learning to a whole new level, guys. And that's why I'm calling it Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh, because it literally is learning some serious stuff, a little bit next level than what I share often here on my channel. So that's, you channel members deserve it. You wanted more, you're getting it. So check your email, hounds, channel members, for, you know, on our YouTube community page for the invite and any other details for that meeting. And if you're not a Go Groomer Channel member, you can absolutely sign up and join via the link in the description of this video. It's very, very good information. Tonight, we are helping my husband. He's a non-dog groomer. We're going to help him learn to hold and to use dog grooming shears properly. I watch people on YouTube sometimes that are just grooming their dogs at home, and I want to say, let me give you a call. You're doing everything so nicely, but you're jabbing at the hair. You don't jab at the hair. I mean, I'm excited for this. Okay, we have a demo prepared for you, but one thing that made me understand the struggles that a beginner groomer must deal with is when Alex says to me, when we're filming, he says, I don't know what I'm looking at, meaning when he's scissoring. And when he attempted to scissor Gus's leg, because we scissored our big Gus, when he attempted to scissor Gus's leg, he said, I don't know what I'm looking at. And that really sparked a light bulb moment for me, guys, when he did that, because it made me think and put myself in his shoes. My husband has never held a grooming shear, other than when I first got my sapphire shears. I made him hold them. I said, aren't they nice and comfortable? Of course, he picks them up like this. He's like, yeah, they're great. I'm like, wait, you got to hold them right so they feel good. But anyway, it just really, working with Alex and shears on a live dog really made me realize the struggles that a lot of people must be having with shears, especially if they're not used to holding them. They're not used to using them. Their muscles aren't, you know, conditioned to moving a grooming shear. And there is some conditioning involved. So it made me realize that I need to teach you guys what you're looking at when you scissor finish the dogs that you groom. And that will be discussed thoroughly in our next live from the grooming table. So, see, everything just sort of stems off of itself for us. But I do want you guys to know that if you want to join my channel as a hound member, you will learn a higher level of dog grooming that most people pay a lot of money for, thousands of dollars to obtain that specific information. So if you do join my channel on the hound member level, you will get a lot for $4.99 a month, I promise you. I lost my track. I have little bullets here. Okay. Now, but I do want to say this. In order to honor my channel members, my people that are already paying, I will never go as deep here live from the grooming table with the info that I share live from the grooming table as I will with you guys who are paying channel members. So I do want you to know that, okay? It's a special thing for us. I am helping you. It's going to take some time for us to get there. We have a meeting every 3 or 4 weeks. At this point, it's never going to be longer than 4 weeks. I kind of like every 3 weeks with my hounds. So if you desire to learn in-depth dog grooming methods and practices, then you may want to become a hound member on the channel number, on the membership channel level of my Go Groomer YouTube channel. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. There's some good stuff shared there. So without further ado, let's see if we can teach hubby Go Groomer, my husband, a non-groomer, how to hold and use dog grooming shears properly. Let's roll it. I'm not making you wait. Let's do it.
Hello, YouTube friends and family. Amy wants me to use her shears and her brilliant expertise. She wanted me to trim Big Gus's foot. Now, mind you, we just washed both dogs, and I did a half-ass job at drying them.
Now you can't swear.
Well, I'll take that out, beep that out, and I did a pretty piss-poor job of drying them. But now she wants me to do this, so I told her we're not going to do that. You're going to teach me how to hold the shears and teach me how to do that. So we're going to learn that today. And I'm going to take these little purple inserts out, or blue inserts out, because I'm not colorblind.
They're sapphire color.
Sapphire color. Oh my gosh. So I'll take those out.
Just don't drop the shear. It won't work right.
I'm not going to drop the shear.
Okay.
Take these out.
Now when I go to use this and show you, my fingers will be...
Well,
the reason we use these
you
inserts is to shorten, make the hole smaller. We don't want our thumb and finger going all the way through the shear like this. We don't want to scissor like that. You'll have no control. You want your thumb resting. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
You want your thumb to be resting, just resting, and your third finger, your ring finger, to be resting at the top of the shear, not at the bottom, at the top.
Right.
So we're pinching the shear. Do you see that?
Yes. Okay.
And then this finger will fall right in that little notch.
Yes.
And your first finger will fall right in that little
And that you're using.
And your pinky rest, use it. It definitely allows you to have balance.
Okay.
Okay, so feel how it feels. What are you doing in here? It's weird when you don't do it, you know? It takes a while to even hold a shear right.
Come here, Big Gus.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, buddy.
Don't point the shears at him. It's kind of like having a gun. You don't point at people.
We're gonna cut your tail off today.
No.
Okay, so I got that, and I get the feeling of the balance. They're very light. I feel a lot of control with this finger. Am I doing that right? So
You're doing that right.
This I have pinched up. I'm pushing up on this finger, and this finger is resisting too, and it's giving me good stability.
It feels pretty balanced. It
Stability,
feels
yeah.
pretty, like you feel like
But
you have control.
I feel like I have control over this.
That's awesome.
So,
and he's never held a shear properly to groom a dog. He's cut things with scissors, but that's different.
No, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you're not telling me to cut his paw again and make it round.
We were gonna have him scissor, and he's like, I can't do that, Amy. I'm not even comfortable with the shears.
Right, and I want to brush him down.
That's a comb.
Come down.
Yeah.
And pull it out like this. Is that what I'm looking to do? Because that's what I see you do. I mean,
yeah. But he's got.
When I was 8 years old, I cut my own hair once, just like the barber did.
Geez.
For my school pictures, I went like that.
Oh, Jesus.
And like that.
He doesn't have a true scissor coat. So you comb up and you see what's out of sorts, and then you kind of just comb it back down a little bit so it's nice.
So most of
but you keep, with the fact that you're touching him like that, you can't scissor that area that you're touching because you just messed it up. You can't touch them and scissor that area. You put holes in the coat.
Oh.
Look.
Well, I don't
if I touch this, now I go to scissor that.
I see.
You see?
What you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Okay. Now I think you should handle the shears a little before you go to touch his coat. Yeah. You want control, and you may only be using that last quarter of your shear, which means you don't have to open it much, and it gives you a lot of control, right?
Right. You're not really taking much off, right? And I'm assuming when you're grooming.
Well, sometimes.
I'm thinking. I guess my only relation I have to grooming is getting a haircut, and they take off a lot when they cut your hair.
Well, we're scissoring full length.
Where do you want the hole at in his leg? No, but I can see this, but I mean I don't know.
Now,
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of your viewers feel the same way.
Yeah.
What am I looking at? Like you, I can see it in your eyes already. You're very nervous, Amy. Very nervous. We will buy another dog if I mess this coat up. No. Okay.
Maybe I should give a quick lesson. And then we call it good. Like I don't make you try to do it unless you want to.
You want? Yeah. Do you want to put the rings back? You want me to put the sapphire rings back in?
Yeah. I want you to feel the difference if you open and close the shear big time. Do you feel like you have a lot of control when you do it? And just move the shear.
Well,
And yeah, see that would make you feel like you don't have control, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I got my pinky in the wrong place.
There.
Yeah, when you have it open this high,
yeah.
It feels, it gets loose. Like I can't.
You feel like you don't have control.
Right, like I have to stay within this.
Yeah.
I can go about.
And I think most beginners should.
I can go about here.
And then you feel you're losing control of the shear.
Yeah, like once I go here, I don't feel like I can
Because
if I was aiming somewhere to cut a certain thing, like going in to cut a certain area,
you wouldn't feel accurate.
I wouldn't feel accurate at that point.
Because you have to learn to keep your wrist still.
I think I have to stay here where I feel like I have a little bit more control. The thumb is helping control that, not just cutting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's controlling the shear.
And I think when you get to a certain skill set, you probably aren't using your thumb as much for that as you are just for movement of the shear.
Movement of the shear is all it is.
Right.
Nice and easy. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the paint roller technique, to practice on a paint roller, is a great idea, because just practice, practice, practice. Eventually it feels right.
You could have brought a paint roller out, Amy, and I wouldn't have to use a live specimen.
You know what? Maybe next time that's what we'll do to practice.
There isn't going to be
roller.
a next time. I'll have to let you do it again. Have me bathe the dogs. Right,
we had a fight with little Gus, and now he's wore out. All right, well then let me give a quick lesson. So, you know, holding the shear is very important. We talked about that. When you go to scissor a dog, technically when you first start grooming, you're going to do most of your work with clipper blades or with guard combs, which are fantastic. And we are doing pet trims, so that's, you know, that's what we do. And then there's always that work you have to tie together where the scissor work and the clipper work meet. Let's talk about a leg. Let's talk about scissoring a leg. So when I'm scissoring a leg, I will first box it in. I will scissor down the outside, and then I'll go over to the other side to the other leg and comb everything out. Take a look, and then I will scissor down that leg to match this outside of that leg. And then I'll scissor the inside of the leg of this leg where I want it.
So what are you taking off there? About 1/8 of an inch? I mean, you're really not taking off a lot.
What I'm taking off is when I'm looking at this leg, I'm not looking at the hair. I'm looking at the shape.
Okay.
So when I see this, I see.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when I'm going to scissor, I want to make that straight.
Right. Okay.
So I'm coming up in a straight line. I'm not moving in. I'm coming up in a straight line, and what I take, I take. What I don't take, I don't take. See?
Okay.
And now I'm making the leg look straighter.
That's not easy to do.
It's not. It takes practice. So when I'm scissoring, I'll set the outside of this leg coming down off the hip. Set the outside of this leg. Come down off this hip. Set the outside of this leg. So now they match. The two outsides match. Then I'll come in, set the inside of this leg, and then I will set the inside of this leg. Again, only taking what is not in that straight line that I'm envisioning. That's it. That's all I'm taking. So now I have two legs that match so far. Then we come to the back of the legs. And when I'm scissoring only what's obstructing that little line that I'm looking for. Holding my wrist still. My arm looks like it's in a cast. That's not perfect. I'm just trying to give you a quick visual. And then I come to the back of this leg. So they're always looking the same. Don't scissor a whole leg and then go to the next leg.
Oh, so you do a little bit on this one, a little bit on that one, trying to keep it...
To match so that when I look at them, this line's straight, this line's straight on the outside.
Well, I guess it's still fresh in your mind what you did over here. So when you go over here versus starting all over.
Here. Then we make this side match this side. And then I know I'm getting even trimming. And then after we set in the box, like the outside, we have a square shaped leg kind of. Then we come down on these angles. Then we come down to nip off and make it more round instead of square. I'm going to have to draw some and throw that up on the screen, and I will. The front of the leg, I will set that down to the toe. And then I will come over and match the same thing on the other leg. Down to the toe. And then you just, now I have set the shape. Now I can hone in on one leg.
Right, okay.
They're gonna be equal. Now I can fix it and make it all look good. And that's how I scissor. But holding the shears, if you look, my wrist isn't moving. My shoulder isn't really moving. My arm's moving a little bit. But very controlled. Very controlled move. If you're doing this, you ain't, you know, people don't.
Kind of the way you are in our marriage.
What you think you need to do is not what you need to do. Stop it. Stop it, Alex.
Stop it.
So, it's controlled movements. Your thumb is operating the shear.
So you can see, I can see how easy it is for you to work with that shear versus how awkward it was
for you.
Yeah, like
So
I
you
can really see how, I can just see how you're handling it different.
Until you would condition yourself to it, because you're not used to doing that.
I'm going to get better because I'm going to show people on my YouTube channel the way to do it right.
I think you should. How to start learning to groom from ground zero and teaching yourself.
Teach yourself.
So that's also a good, you know, a good way for you guys to make your legs even is to do the outside of the leg first, then stand behind him, do the outside of this leg. Now we know that both outsides of the legs are the same. And then we come in and we do the inside. I'm fixing what I did earlier because I was in a hurry. Chop, 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 chop. And set that. And don't forget, with a curve, you can go either this way or you can flip them. These are flippable curves, so you can also, you know, do angles that way. So do the inside of one leg, do the inside of the next leg, do the back side of one leg, do the back side of the other leg to match, and then with the front.
Just to be redundant and to get this around my head, I'm sorry I screwed that up for you. It's pretty much the eye of the beholder as far as what you take off, but you're always taking just a little bit. Like you're not aggressively.
Yeah.
You're not aggressive.
Unless he had a ton of coat, I could be taking a lot off.
Right.
But I would have skimmed most of that off with a guard comb first.
Okay.
To save myself from all that.
So scissoring is just to kind of make the shape. Right.
Finish the shape.
Right, okay.
Bring in your clipper work, your scissor work, tying in the feet. Like when we scissor a foot, and his feet are pretty shaped up, but keep the foot down. I scissor in front of the toe, straight, and then I scissor the side, straight. I'm making almost like a little box, and then I'll just sort of round off these edges. I can't flip shears. I guess I should work on that. And then in the back, I comb everything down.
Makes you feel any better? I can't flip shears either.
I should be able to.
I should work. Keep them in your hand and just flip your hand. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd be afraid. It just isn't comfortable to me. And then when I pick the foot up, the only thing left to do is come sideways here, and just what's level with that pad gently. Be careful, that pad's easy to nick.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. And you know, we took very little, and look at the foot, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
We took very little. I think it's important to just start practicing and practicing and practice with a shear that's well balanced. Well, this is a great well balanced shear.
I think we're gonna break out. We're gonna break out the paint rollers.
Yes.
And I'm gonna play with that a little bit.
It's fun too.
Well, I'm going to play with that just a little bit because you need to get used to working with the shears. I don't have a single concept of how much hair I'm taking off when I do it, when I'm like any of that.
And
so
you know, you'd said that a minute ago. You're like, well, how do you know the shape that you're after? And that's really, really important. And we just talked about that in our members Zoom session. We're getting serious in those member Zoom sessions now.
that's awesome.
They're actually learning stuff that's it's a little bit next level. It's not even basics. They're learning more than the basics now. But so understanding the anatomy of the dog is the first thing if you're going to do a lot of scissor work, to understand where you're setting these shapes. You know, you got to understand the anatomy. So that's what we were learning last week, and then we're going to get down to talking about how to apply that to a trim in 3 weeks when we get together again on the members page. But so yeah, you know, you got to know the shape you're after. Or let's just say that we just did guard combs all over him. That would be fine. We would have very minimal scissor work to tie together, but still knowing the shape is important. Those lines, that's important in order to make it really look professional. And anybody can make it look professional, you know, if you know those secrets. And that's what we share here on my channel.
All right, we got to hang it up because we got the internet guy coming to fix our internet so that Amy's YouTube live does not crash.
We got a new modem and that didn't seem to do it. So
see you kids on Monday.
Bye. I hope that was helpful, guys. So we got into it, and I'm trying to, show Alex how to hold the shear. Obviously, Gus is very good. He's just standing there waiting patiently. And, it came down to it. And like I said, the shears are very sharp. We all know that. And Alex said, hey, look, I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not. And I appreciated that. Plus, he said, I don't know what I'm trimming. That made a lot of sense to me. We actually discussed similar topic the last time I met with my hound channel members. And I really tried to help them understand how us dog groomers determine where we, what we clip and what we don't clip and what we scissor and how we tie in the scissor work with the clipper work, all those things. So it's very important to understand that, and that's why we're going to go into that. I'm going to go into that with you guys too. But another thing that, Alex had talked about, he said, why are you doing this? Why aren't we trimming paint rollers? Which was right. You remember a few live streams ago, we tested how to practice learning your, to hold your shears, to use your shears on a paint roller, which is much like dog hair. And it's fantastic. Here, I'll show you a little clip. This is what it was, but that is actually a wonderful way to learn. And I should have had Alex scissor a paint roller. I really should have. And then maybe went over to a foot on Gus. But it's made me determine that I am going to be working on a new video for you that's going to be coming real soon, guys. And what that's going to do is going to be some type of like a follow-along workshop is this video. It's going to be a standalone video, like a follow-along workshop of how to learn to scissor dogs with practicing on paint rollers and what we're looking for, with illustrations so you can see. I'll put together a great reference demo video that will be more of a workshop so that you guys feel like you're right there with me when you scissor your paint roller, okay? It's going to be like a work together type thing. And then you can watch it, rewatch it, and practice over and over again with me guiding you in this demo. Actually, I will be performing the scissor work on a paint roller too. So that is coming for you guys. Which, when Alex says, I don't know what I'm looking at, right away, I was like, that's the next live from the grooming table. That is my next focus for 2 weeks, is the topic of that live from the grooming table is going to be my fail-proof approach and blueprint to grooming dogs, okay? Because you gotta have a blueprint. You gotta have an approach so you know what you're doing. I'm gonna bring that to you guys next time, I promise. And that's what we're gonna do live from the grooming table. I had another question in the chat here while we were watching. This is from MPLS, and said, hey, I'm a first-year groomer. I really enjoy grooming. Should I compete at one of the shows in one of the entry-level contests? Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that. I enjoy... Jeffrey, what are you saying? My paint roller bit me. Well, I wish you would have got that on film. But anyway, I want to tell you guys, absolutely, if you get a chance as a new groomer to enter grooming competitions at the trade shows, it doesn't matter where they are, whichever ones are closest to you, that to me was the funnest time of competing when I competed, was when I was in level, I think it was level 1 they called it. Level 1 is the entry level, then it's intermediate, then it's level 3 is expert level. So you have to win so many to move up to intermediate. You have to win so many to move up to expert level, unless you are like a, very experienced groomer, then you shouldn't be in level 1, just because you've never competed. So what that did for me was it really pushed me to learn the stuff I'm showing you guys, how to properly hold my shears, how to look at this dog, and what am I scissoring. When I started competing, and I competed for probably about 4 or 5 years, not a ton. I maybe, what did I say? I competed at least 8 times, I would say, okay? It was fun. But what it did was it challenged me. So I knew if I was competing, say it's April, and I'm going to be competing in September. Well, that's several months, right, to get my act together on whatever breed I'm going to be entering to compete with. So what I would do is I would go and buy Jody Murphy's videos. Let's say I was going to do a Bichon. I would go buy Jody Murphy's videos. I would go buy Chris Pulowski's videos. I would, at other shows, sit and watch the demos from Diane Badalak, from all of my favorite people, Sarah Hawkes, groom Bichons. And I would be obsessed with it for like 5 months. Plus, I would have to go and find the Bichon that I'm going to groom. Preferably, I can find a dog with pretty decent conformation. As a beginner, then you don't have to do so much camouflage grooming, meaning Bichon's supposed to have a little bit of a chest, and say the one you get has a sunken chest. Well, you've got to create the chest with your grooming. Pretend it really does have it. So having a dog with some pretty decent conformation helps a lot when you're grooming. But you don't always go in there thinking, I'm going to win. I mean, you definitely want to challenge yourself. But what you learn when you compete is the best part of competing, because you're going to study that breed nonstop for 5 months, maybe a year, however long. You're going to study. You're going to know everything about it. And you're not going to be able to hardly wait to get in the ring to finally put the trim on the dog. So I say MLPS, what, I'm sorry. I messed that up. I say, yeah, you should do it. And you should never feel, am I good enough to? Hey, if you're good enough to spend the $100 to enter, then you go. That's what it is. There's an entry fee to compete. You pay the money, you play. You do your thing. Okay, I don't care what your level of grooming is. This will challenge you to be a better groomer. This will challenge you to do things like scissor paint rollers, to really sharpen those your scissoring skills. This will challenge you to learn how to take professional shortcuts, like setting the pattern of this breed with your guard comb so you don't have to completely hand scissor your dog at a level 1 level when you're competing. But those things are what in turn make you a fantastic pet groomer. Because when you learn that much about a trim, or that much about just, you know, how to really skim with your guard combs or be very steady with your scissor work, because you've practiced, so you can go in a competition ring. But that's what makes you a better pet groomer. So my answer is, every chance you get in entry level, compete. It's fun. You'll make good friends too, I promise. So do it. It will make you a better pet groomer. As I started competing a little more and more, the competition was hot. I mean, there are some people there that scissored circles around me. It was still fun, but at that point, I didn't feel as challenged because I knew I couldn't compete against them. So when I would have to move up to an intermediate level, I was like, I'm done. I don't really want to compete because I can't compete with them. They're much better than me. Not that I shouldn't compete, but what I learned is competing at the entry level, you know, at the entry level, what I learned there was more valuable than anything, because that's what challenged me to really learn a lot about using my tools properly, and learn a lot about specific trims like the poodle trim, the Bichon trim, the specific proper way to groom a Cocker Spaniel. I competed with a Cocker Spaniel and I carted out the coat. I did everything right. I competed with a couple poodles, a couple standard poodles, a doodle, a Bouvier. I can't remember. There was quite a few, but it was fun. And every dog that I would compete with, I would really study. So, and you don't have to even be a groomer to enter a grooming competition, guys. If you groom your own dog and you're very good at it, let's say you got a Havanese, that Havanese would fall into the miscellaneous group. So you could compete with your own dog. You can do it. You don't have to be a groomer, okay? It's fun and it challenges you. So I say absolutely do it every time. It will make you a better groomer in any way, whether you're a pet groomer or if you groom your own dog at home. Jane says, Amy, I'm having trouble doing my schnauzer's underbelly, the skirt from the elbow to the flank. Got it. Elbow close to the chest. Yep. And want the proper angle going up and then down around to the stifle. We talked about that in our last members meeting. Jane, it is identical to what I was talking to you about. Yes, we were kind of referred to as a poodle, but last rib, that's your flank. Your skirting, your furnishings only go to right about the elbow, maybe just slightly below the elbow, but not much. Angle up towards that last rib, then from there, angle back down towards the stifle, the knee. So yes, go back and watch our private members meeting that we had. You will learn a ton. So I also have a couple things here I wanted to say before we dig into the questions that were submitted in Google Forms. You guys know how to submit your questions, and that's linked in the description of my live streams. Takes you to a Google form. You just fill out your question, put your name, the dog breeds you have, whether or not you're a groomer, and I'll give you the answer live during the next live stream. So today we're going to be answering questions that were from the last 2 weeks. But before we do that, I wanted to mention, okay, yes, I wanted to make sure you guys understand that the next topic from live from the grooming table, the next time we're live from the grooming table in 2 weeks, is going to be my fail-proof approach and blueprint to grooming dogs. I want you to remember that because it's going to be good. I got 2 weeks to put it together and my head's already spinning. These are reasons why I can't sleep at night. I get excited about these projects and then I just want to work all the time, but I got to sleep or I'm worthless. So yeah, I'm excited about this because I'm going to lay it out there as nicely and as simplified as I possibly can to help you guys understand my approach to grooming a dog. Okay, what am I looking at when I'm grooming the dog? I'm going to make this as understandable with illustrations so it's fail-proof. And that's what we're going to do. So right now I'm going to switch right over to my Google form. and I'm going to start taking a look at the questions that were submitted. The first question that was submitted is from Talea, and Talea says she has an Australian Shepherd. I'm sure a lot of you have Australian Shepherds. It's a very popular breed. Typically our Aussies don't get a haircut, so this is a good breed to talk about. She says she's not a groomer. She says, Amy, is it okay to use a chunker shear or a blender shear on my Australian Shepherd? Yes, it is okay to use a blending shear or a chunker blending shear on your Australian Shepherd. However, I lost my place. However, remember, that's a double coat. So the Australian Shepherd has an undercoat and it has a top coat. The top coat is longer and it protects the undercoat. The undercoat is more dense, has more hairs than the top coat. If we cut the top coat down to meet or below the undercoat, often what will happen is the undercoat will grow now, almost like when you cut your yard short, your lawn, the weeds grow up higher than the grass. That's what's going to happen. The undercoat's like the weeds, they're going to grow up higher. Now you've just messed up your ratio of undercoat to top coat. So when I say yes, you can, what I want you to really focus on when you trim your Aussie is mainly around the hiney. I know it gets real thick and real crazy back there, but back there around the hiney is mainly all kind of undercoat anyway. That's why it's so thick. So then a lot of people like to shape up so their dog stays more sanitary, you know, so that its stool doesn't get stuck to its hair, basically, okay? And I understand that. They live in our house. So, and that's okay. You know, you're not going to really mess anything up with the coat by trimming back there. Nice, just tidy. You don't have to take it short. I like to trim sometimes on the backs of the front legs, obviously. Sometimes the furnishings back here behind the ears. But honestly, you can pluck those hairs out. Get it by the root and pull it out. It's undercoat. The little flyaways that they get behind their ears, Aussies, it's undercoat. You can just literally pull them out one by one, you know, a couple at a time. You don't want to take handfuls of hair. Or you can just blend it off with a blending shear. That's fine too. What happened there? Okay. So the things I want you to worry about when it comes to trimming an Australian Shepherd's coat is if you are going to trim in that silhouette of the dog, meaning you're going to shape it up. You're going to bring all those uneven furnishings up to an even level. I get it. That's okay. Just don't take the top coat any shorter. Should I just say, let's not even go as short as the undercoat, okay? Because then we could start to mess up whether the undercoat's going to grow faster than the top coat. Because here's the thing. I want you to listen to me. On double-coated breeds, the top coat at times, different times of the year, depending on if it's hot or cold, the undercoat, or I'm sorry, the top coat goes dormant. That means there are only certain times of the year when that top coat is going to grow. So let's say you cut it at the wrong time. And that's hard to determine what is the right time because it depends on the climate that you live in. That means that the top coat is just going to sit there. It's like dormant, you know, like in the winter time when all the leaves fall off the trees in the fall and then the tree is just a stick until spring and then it buds again. Well, when it's a stick until spring, it's dormant. A dog's top coat on a double-coated breed can go dormant for different times of the year, and if that happens, the undercoat is going to grow out longer, and you're really never going to fix that. So I do want to say that because I think it's important. I know that just got a little confusing, but go back and rewatch this afterwards and listen to that scenario, and it will make sense to you. That's a great question, Talea. I appreciate you asking it, and I guarantee you helped a lot of people by asking that question. And our next question comes from, says Rags. I think that's the name of the dog. A Labradoodle, a Lab, and a Bouvier mix. So Rags has two dogs, a Lab Bouvier mix and a Labradoodle. So the question is, and Rags is not a groomer. Do you ever groom cats? That's the question. My answer to that is no. I don't groom cats professionally. You do need to know certain things about cats if you're going to groom them. You really need to know a lot about cats, first of all, if you're going to groom them. Just like with me and dogs, I understand a lot about dogs, and I've studied them my whole life, just found them fascinating creatures, you know. So that's a good thing. That puts me in a good position to, I've already, you know, tried to absorb so much information about dogs. I like cats, but I've never been a big cat person. And my Livy cat passed away. We had to put her down. So I don't know if some of you know that. We had to just put her down in April of this year. She got really sick and really thin. So, but I would groom Liv. And Liv was a long-haired Himalayan mixed cat. And she was beautiful. But I would groom her, but I wouldn't trim her. When I say groom, that to me is like, you know, when I groom a golden retriever, I do hardly any trimming on a golden retriever, but I handle the coat properly, and that's how I groom my cats. But professionally, do I groom cats? No. And the reason is because there's a lot to understand about their coats and about their skin. It is way different than a dog. And there's a lot to understand about cats in general if I was going to work with them professionally. So I don't do it. And that is out of respect to cats, that I don't profess to groom them, because I don't know enough about them to groom them. And that's the way I feel about it. Is that right or wrong? That's just the way I feel about it. It's my business. I can groom what I want. Okay. That's a good question, though, because not all dog groomers groom cats. So that is a good question. The next question comes from Cheryl Cowston, and she has an American Staffordshire Terrier, and she says she is a professional groomer, and then she says she is not a professional. She checked both boxes, so I'm not sure. She says, hi, I am only just starting out, and I watched all your videos and completed the course. Good, thank you. I hope that it helped. She said, I use your guide for what grade to use. I think she meant blade. What blade to use, but do you have any information on what blades on clippers do you use for the head? That is a preference for what type of trim you're doing. But here's a good rule of thumb for you. If you're trimming the body and the legs, say of a Shih Tzu, let's just say, with a 1/2 inch guard comb, and you get to the head and you want to set the top skull and the cheeks and under the chin, and you think, well, what length do I use? A good rule of thumb is to go up one size in your guard comb, so 1 step longer. You could go 2 steps longer than the body blade, and then if you felt it wasn't taking much, then come back to 1 step above what you set the body blade using and the legs. So that's just a good rule of thumb right there, is whatever you're trimming the body and the legs with, go 2 steps higher in your guard combs. And that'll be a nice length to set your head. If it doesn't seem to be tidy enough, then bring it back 1 more step. But you typically don't want to use the same blade on the body as the head. It makes the head look small. And depending on what breed you're grooming, you know, you probably wouldn't want to do that. So good question, Cheryl. And thanks for asking it. All these questions help many other people. We have a couple more to roll through. Monica says she has a Maltipoo and a Yorkie, and she says she's not a groomer. And she says, hi, Amy, have you used hybrid shears? And what are they for? Thank you. Hybrid shears, I'm not sure what that term means. I think it means, to me, a hybrid means that it kind of serves a dual purpose. So I think you're talking about blending shears or the double thinners. I'm not sure. If it's double thinners, no, I've never used them. I don't think I would want to. I don't think I need to. I would just go for a chunker in that instance. Blending shears, obviously, I use all the time. But I'm not sure what you mean about hybrid. Do you mean like a knockoff brand? I typically don't use knockoff brand shears. Like something that looks like this, but it has no name, or it's just called a, a wagon tail shear or whatever. I don't know. But I typically go with what I know works and what has good reviews. So I always read your reviews. It's very helpful to determine if you're not sure about a purchase. People are very kind to leave reviews these days. A lot of people are mindful of it. And that could be helpful to you if you go to purchase something, especially something that maybe is a little more of a high dollar purchase. Read the reviews. It will be helpful because most likely a lot of them are professionals that are using it, so they can give you a professional opinion. So good question. And the next question comes from Austin, and Austin says, Austin's not a groomer. I said, what breed do you have? And he said, any. I think he is just referring to this as a general question. So Austin says, I am a beginner being trained. That is awesome, and congratulations. It's a big step. Says, I have down how to do the sanitary trims, how to do the nails and the ears. What's next? P.S. Love your channel and your husband. Aw, thanks. If he's watching, he's probably blushing. But I appreciate that. Okay, so you're really good at doing your brush outs, your bathing, and your drying and your prep work. And part of that prep work is trimming the sanitary areas, which is pads of feet, private areas. Sometimes, around the eyes, a little bit of sanitary trimming, and you're good at, with the nails and the ears. So what's next? What I would do next is now start wanting to do your double-coated breeds. So, because you're really getting good with handling the coats and everything in the tub. You're learning a lot about products and conditioners, I'm sure. So now let's apply that to a double-coated breed. There is nothing more satisfying than doing a full groom on a double-coated breed and just watching them bounce and loof, just loft out the door. They look so pretty because you really handled the coat properly. So, I have my golden retriever videos on my channel, and that's how I want you guys to handle double coats. That is the best way to handle a double coat. It's beautiful, and it's safe, and it's the right thing to do, and you're not going to damage the coat. So I would say, because with your double coated breeds, now we're talking, okay, so we have some paw pads to trim, or tops of feet, backs of arms, a little bit of angulation under the belly, maybe taking out a little bit of tufts behind the ears. It's going to give you some good practice without having to do a full haircut. Because a full haircut can be quite intimidating sometimes. It really can be. So I would move right up to your double-coated breeds, like your Bernese Mountain Dogs that require slight trimming. How about the Springer Spaniels? A little bit of carding, a little bit of trimming. Those types of dogs, and not step right into like your Poodles and your Bijans. Just keep studying that and start doing them little by little. But by doing the scissor work on your double-coated breeds, because it's minimum, but there is scissor work. It just gets you the right practice before you would go and do a full groom on a scissor coat. That, yes, you're going to use guard combs on too, but it might be intimidating for you. So you as a groomer, you don't want to do anything that's going to put you back in your confidence, because we need a lot of confidence to do our jobs. We really do. Okay, so don't dive in too quickly to something that may sour your taste or kick your confidence level down, because you need that confidence. So how do you build it up? You repetitiously keep grooming the same stuff and mastering it, and then you keep stepping it up. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? Until you get to those full grooms. But I just don't want you to lose your confidence. I think it's very important to have it. So I hope that helps you, Austin. And thank you for asking that awesome question. And we're pulling for you, just so you know. This is the last question that's submitted. This is from Rose Frey. Rose Frey says she has a Shih Tzu, and she says she's not a groomer. And her question is, after bathing, drying, brushing, during grooming the hair is fluffy. Okay. So after bathing, brushing, and drying, we got a nice fluffy dog. Okay, she says, is there a product or a method to bring back the curl? Absolutely. Good question. We like curl, even on a poodle sometimes. Sometimes we don't want those poodles to be all straight and fluffed out. We like the curl, but we have to straighten them out to bathe and dry them and brush them. So after we bathe and dry and brush, there's a couple things you can do. And I did a video with Suzanne. It's on my channel. It's called Doodle Your Poodle. How to Doodle a Poodle. That had some fabulous tips in it. Suzanne did a bang-up job in that video of teaching you how she doodles a poodle. So you must go watch it. And what I would say to do is after you dry it, you fluff it, it's all brushed out. Now we can just, all you need is a misting bottle with warm water in it. And just gently mist the water back into the coat and start scrunching. And this is before you trim it. You could do this if you want to trim that curly coat. Because remember, the coat is going to start to curl up in a day or two. So if we pull it all out, trim it, and then scrunch it, the coat is actually going to look shorter than what it is. So if you want to do it the right way, I'd say to do this is to mist it down with water. Then after you can get a comb completely through the dog, mist it down with water, scrunch those curls. Now we don't touch it with a comb. Now we're scissoring it. You will see that in the video where Suzanne and I were grooming the standard poodle together. We doodled a poodle and we brought back his curl. It's fantastic. So please go watch that video because it will leave you guessing no more. It's very thorough. So that's a good question, and that goes for a lot of breeds. We would like to do that. Even, you know, the more wavy coated doodles, sometimes people like seeing that wave. They don't like to see it all straightened out. They like the wispy, wavy stuff. So after we bathe, brush, and dry, and we can get a comb through the dog, we can gently mist a little bit of warm water back into the coat and scrunch it to put the natural lay of the coat back in the dog's coat, so into the profile, so it looks natural again. And I'll tell you, that's a trick that a lot of groomers probably forget to tell the owners. Hey, I can do this. You know, sometimes they go, wow, he looks so different because he's fluffy. He's not used to being fluffy like that. See, well, I can send him home to you looking curly again with a haircut. And they'll be like, really? You can do that? Yes, I can. And this is how. So go watch the Doodle Your Poodle video, guys, and you all know how to. It's fantastic. So that is all of the questions that were submitted into the Google Forms for me. And I appreciate every single one of those questions. They're wonderful. Let me just look through here real quick since I talked pretty quick tonight. So, yes, Dean says, I agree with the confidence level. It's very important for us to have our confidence. When our confidence gets kicked down, it affects our work. Definitely. No cornstarch, Billy. You know from that video, we don't... No cornstarch in your dog's coat, guys. Don't ever use that tip. Bad, bad, bad. Thanks for reminding me, Billy. Can you recommend a good cordless clipper? A couple of good cordless clippers I can recommend to you guys. The one that everybody's loving right now is the Heininger. It's a little pricey, but it's getting a lot of great reviews. The Wall KM cordless is another one that I use, so I can personally tell you I like it. I like it a lot. Unless you're talking about a 5-in-1 clipper. I don't know if you're talking about a 5-in-1. If you're talking about a 5-in-1 clipper, I'd see the Kenchi Flash or the Flash 5, the new Flash 5. They're both very good clippers. I have them both, and I really like the performance of both those clippers and the work that they produce. I've had a Wahl Brevera, which is a 5-in-1 clipper. It did not last a long time for me, And it also, the blade seemed to dull all the time. I don't know why. So I wasn't happy with that one. But, ooh, we must have somebody in here doing bad things. So I don't see any more questions, but I gotta tell you guys, I am so excited to create my blueprint for you guys with visuals and with demos of what is my approach to grooming a dog, and how you can use that same approach and kind of fail-proof your grooms a little bit, because that's what it's all about, fail-proofing. We want to fail-proof this. It's stressful enough. We don't want to have to be second-guessing everything we're doing while we're trying to work with a dog who may be a little bit fidgety, you know, or hard to work with. So that just adds stress. We want to take as much stress out of it and keep as much know-how into the game, you know, when we groom dogs. So I am so happy to see you guys. I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Did you enjoy seeing hubby? I think hubby and I at some point are going to do a video of him scissoring with a paint roller, just to get his skills up and see how he feels about scissoring. He definitely wasn't comfortable to scissor the live dog, and I respected that. Yes, Kenchi Flash, that is a good one for the 5-in-1 clipper, Jeffrey. I see you were responding to that. That is definitely. It's for a Bouvier, Larry says. No. Okay, Larry, if you're trimming a Bouvier, I mean, you can. If your prep work is perfect, you can trim a Bouvier with a 5-in-1 clipper and the attachment guard combs. Obviously, you have to have those. But if that coat is not perfectly prepared, you may not be able to get the guard combs through everywhere on the dog. So it just depends on how good your prepping skills are, brushing, bathing, and drying, whether or not you could go for a 5-in-1. I mean, you definitely can do it. The Kenchi Flash 5, I did a quick little demo the other day on Instagram of me trimming a Bouvier with a Flash 5. Go and watch it if you don't believe me. It's up there. But that dog's coat was perfect. I mean, I could get the fine teeth of a comb through his coat before I attempted to trim him with the 5-in-1 clipper and the additional guard combs to leave length. So, guys, I will see you in 2 weeks. Members, I will see you on the 18th, right? No, 15th. Whatever I said earlier. Don't forget, it's going to be on the community page. Don't worry. I won't leave you in the dark. I've already announced it in our members post, so you guys all probably have the link for the Zoom session. Can't wait for that. Everybody else, I can't wait to see you live from the grooming table in 2 weeks on a Monday, as usual. Normally we're on a Monday. And we're going to talk about my fail-proof blueprint to groom dogs. I'm going to lay it out there for you. Fail-proof. No fail. No, nada. All right, guys. I am so glad to see you here tonight. I hope you have a wonderful week, 2 weeks. And just keep being awesome. Submit those questions to me if you have any in the Google's forms, because we appreciate those questions. It helps everybody. So that link is in the description below. Oh, I also linked in the description below the live stream where I demonstrated and talked about the paint rollers. So if you guys do want to go kind of get a little idea of what that was all about, that video is linked in the description of this, because I thought some people might be asking for it. But I will see you in 2 weeks right back here on Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live from the grooming table. Here's a subscriber showdown for you. I love you. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you!